I'm breathing underwater, I'm weightless through space. I'm soaring like an eagle all over this place. Creatures most will never see are waiting there to look at me, and all I gotta do is breathe underwater.
Far across the sea in the People's Republic, big things are happening. As we'll see, he didn't exactly resign of his own free will.
Take position.
That is a firing squad. And that is Brinoff. He's the subject of this little celebration. The truth is he was overthrown and now they intend to retire him permanently. I'm not in favor of killing anyone for any reason. There's most always some alternative, but I get it. He's a brutal, vicious dictator who's into exactly one thing, himself. I understand why revolutionaries who have suffered under him would feel the need to eliminate him permanently so he can't rise up and do it again. I don't agree with it, but I do get it.
Attention! Prepare! Take aim!
You're doing it wrong. The bullets are supposed to go that way. Every self-important big shot wannabe has his groupies, those who follow him blindly no matter how evil he is or how much damage he does to people. The true believer in the cause is the most dangerous person on the planet. Nevertheless, he's carrying some microfilm that Washington wants, and the Seaview is tasked with evaluating it. If Admiral Nelson decides it's worth the effort, they'll bring him to Washington. And if he decides it's not worth the effort, we won't have to find out, which is probably a good thing. To do this, the Seaview has to enter his country's territorial waters and meet Brinoff's yacht, because of course he has a yacht. Admiral Nelson will take the mini-sub over to it. As quick as he's launched, the Seaview is to make tracks out of here. They have a prearranged rendezvous point in international waters. I don't get tired of scenes like that. The model work on this show is second to none. That really looks like a big submarine launching a little submarine, or giving birth. The People's Republic has a long, fog-bound coastline, so as long as the rebels don't know where Brinoff's yacht is parked, this should be fairly safe. Let's meet our cast of characters. The guy getting a drink is Mikhail, Brinoff's brother. The chain smoker is Konstantin, Brinoff's personal physician. Black Mustache is Semenyev, his accountant. That's Yosip, the muscle. And Brinoff, of course. Ed Asner was still a long way from being the household name that he is today. He'd only been doing television for 8 years and was still doing character parts like this one. As we know, his big break came when he was cast as Mary Tyler Moore's grumpy boss Lou Grant, and eventually got his own show that was so popular, I'm not sure there's a person in this country over 40 who doesn't remember it and him. I think he had a little trouble sitting still for any length of time because he has over 400 credits to his name. Not many actors could say that. When he died in 2021 at the age of 91, he moved into the realm of television legend. Long may he live there.
We'll conquer again, Alexei. Never fear.
When they do, I shall revenge myself against the pigs who betrayed me.
If you want to know the difference between a statesman and a petty bully, here's one. A statesman talks about the state, the people, and how to get the job done. The bully talks about himself. Only I can do this. I'm this, I'm that, I'm something that's blah, 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 me, me, me. Avoid those kinds of people, folks. They only lead to trouble.
Be calm, Alexei. As your physician.
As my physician, you will dispense salts when I have indigestion.
As you wish, Alexei.
I'm tougher than boiled owl.
I've never tried boiled owl, and if I ever get the chance, I think I'll pass and take his word for it.
Stronger than a young bull. I will die violently, not from one of your heart attacks.
If he dies violently, it means he's still not in charge. He was trying to fight his way back and got himself killed. He says that like it's a good thing. Semenyev reports that Brinov's Swiss accounts have about $60 million, so he should be able to survive if he's very careful with his money.
What will your millions mean when you have driven the world to war?
Leave us. Out. Out.
A little friction between brothers.
It will only be a small war. Just big enough to return your brother to power.
And to return you to power, dear brother, how many will die? 10,000? 100,000?
Silence!
But he won't be silent. He says, you can't do this. Brinoff says, how will you stop me?
Without Saint Barbara, you are powerless.
We're going to see that a lot in this episode. He says, if I throw this out, you have nothing. And then he stands there instead of throwing it. There will be lots of variations on that theme, but they all add up to the same thing.
When you have to shoot, don't talk.
Admiral Nelson is here. Mikhail says, I'll tell him about your plan. Brinoff says, then I'll have to kill him, so go ahead, let that be on your conscience. Needless to say, Mikhail has nothing to say to the Admiral or his brother.
I'd like to have a look at those microfilms, Mr. Premier.
It was agreed that I was to deliver the microfilms to your president.
But I must evaluate them first.
I will show the microfilms to your president and to no one else.
In that case, my orders are to return to Seaview alone.
Admiral!
He called your bluff, Brinoff, which was the plan from the beginning. They know what kind of person you are and how full of yourself you are, so you can play your hand or you can fold and go back to playing with your captors. But Brinoff isn't done bluffing yet.
What makes you think I will permit you to return alone?
My captain has orders to radio the position of this yacht to your government, unless I give him orders to the contrary.
Blackmail, Admiral!
And what you're trying to do isn't? His mind is thinking, but this is different. This is me.
Insurance, Mr. Premier. Now, the microfilm.
Any more bluffs, Brinoff? I thought not. Nelson checks out the microfilm and it seems to be legitimate. Meanwhile, on the Seaview, stock footage from World War II is giving them no end of headaches. They're trying to make a run to international waters without leading the enemy ships to their rendezvous with Brinoff's yacht.
The map you are now looking at shows the positions of the rockets my successors have trained on 12 of your major cities.
Well, that's an issue, isn't it? That would be the war that Mikhail says he wants to start. As we go along, we'll learn that he's hoping the United States will evaluate the threat and strike first, plunging his country into a deadly war so he can come riding in on his mighty steed and save the day. Nelson calls the Seaview and says, once you deal with the kabooms, head for the rendezvous. The yacht is already in the open sea, so they don't have to worry about kabooms. Of course, I could be mistaken. The yacht is on the bottom of the ocean. Everyone aboard is either in or around that raft.
Captain, there's a lot of activity on the radio. The Baltique has been sunk.
Any more word?
Just that they're searching for survivors.
Mr. Morton wants to go join the search, but the captain says our orders are to stay right here and wait, and that's what we're going to do. They'll wander around a bit just in case, but they'll stick close to the meeting place.
There is no more room! Keep away! Stop! They will drag us under.
No danger, lad. Now sit down.
Here's a question to ponder. How is it they let Nelson get on board the yacht with a gun? And let's see Joseph go for his. The Western pulp magazines and comics used to call that a cold stack draw. It's not something you want to challenge. Joseph will sit down and Admiral Nelson will have Semenyev set up a schedule for rotating in and out of the water. That way nobody gets too pruny. Mikhail's injuries are too great and he dies within minutes of getting on the raft.
And whoever shall call upon the name of the Lord shall be saved. Amen.
Burial at sea has been a tradition for as long as there have been boats. It grew out of sheer practicality. What else do you do with a body when it starts to stink? Mikhail died believing that his brother went down with the yacht, and thus the danger from him is gone.
Hello! Hey! It's Alexei! Wait! Alexei, here! Alexei!
Too bad he was mistaken, but I suppose it's just as well he doesn't know.
You realize, Admiral, to Alexei, this raft is another world that he must conquer?
I think the doctor is saying we'd do better to leave him in the ocean and get far away from him.
You still have the microfilms?
Of course. And I intend to keep them.
Why did everybody just sit there and let him do that? The only true believer in the raft is Joseph. The others know what he is, and one of them launched the raft, gave away the yacht's position and all the rest. And they sit on their duffs and let him get a gun? His main concern now is finding out which one of them betrayed him. The rendezvous and everything else is secondary. That even includes the sharks that are now circling around the raft. Remember what the doctor said about him conquering the raft? He just did. Guys like him are always willing to sacrifice someone. But isn't it funny how these dudes are never willing to sacrifice themselves?
You murdered them.
Murdered? I saved their lives.
You killed 3 men.
Sacrificed. So that the microfilms will reach your country in time. So that your president will learn of a surprise attack and prevent it.
Nelson can take care of that himself. Next time you go get eaten, please.
Those men are on my conscience, not yours.
Your conscience. What conscience?
If he has a conscience, I have a third left foot.
You've killed thousands of innocent men, women, and children.
I've only killed to free my country from tyrants, to rid it of traitors.
No, Mr. Premier. You've killed only to gain power.
It's not even that, Admiral. He kills because he likes it. They have limited water, so they've been on pretty strict rations. Semenyev is feeling it a lot more than the others.
The microfilms, they reveal the positions of our rocket bases.
I've seen them, I know that.
But they are defense rockets.
He's telling Nelson this in exchange for a drink of water. He explains Brinoff's plan to return to power. He says, you have to stop him.
I'm sorry you had to hear that, Admiral.
Oh, please tell me the lightning is going to hit the gun and fry him. No such luck. We just have to watch them ride the storm out.
Riding the storm out.
Well, yeah.
Riders on the storm.
Yeah, that too. That was different.
You'll have to kill me, so I won't reveal your plans.
No, Admiral. I need you. I never kill anyone I need.
But the moment you're not useful to him, yeah, we all know what he'll do.
Get his gun, Constantine. Throw it into the sea.
Constantine has a gun and it's pointed at Brinoff. All he has to do is pull the trigger and this ordeal is over. He has a good reason to do it. He's the one who launched the raft, gave their position away, and all the rest.
I won't kill you, Admiral. I need you to sail this raft.
I will kill you, Alexei. Drop that gun.
So, Constantine, it was you after all.
Constantine, please notice that he's not dropping the gun, so shoot. Okay, he did it. Shoot him anyway.
Microfilms.
Why have you turned against me?
You have betrayed our country.
And Josip, who rescued me? Was he part of your treachery?
We only used him so that you would think you had escaped, so that whoever had the microfilms would bring them on board the yacht.
I don't think Josip is gonna like hearing that.
The microfilms!
That's it, Josip! Kill him!
Told you.
When you have to shoot, shoot, don't talk.
They both fall over the side and disappear in the waves. The tyrant and the admiral are the only ones left. The raft capsizes in the storm, and once the sea is calm again, Brinoff is on the overturned raft and Nelson is in the water holding on, of course. And also, of course, through all that, Brinoff managed to hang on to the gun.
I must tell you, Admiral, I have defeated my enemies simply because I have the will to outlast them. I am a born survivor.
Nelson couldn't care less about all his big talk. He says, let's flip this raft over again so we can access our supplies. Brinoff doesn't know it, but he's formulating a plan. One that doesn't involve getting shot, go figure. Brinoff is overweight and out of shape, and the heat is affecting him a lot more severely than it's hitting Nelson. The Admiral is counting on that.
Answer! Wake up! There's no more water.
I know. Now, let's see which one of us survives, Brinoff.
Not only is Nelson in better shape, he took a huge slug of water before he poured the rest out, so he's in much better condition than Brinoff is. To increase the difference in their conditions, Brinoff is going to make a big mistake. He doesn't realize that drinking the seawater is why he's having those god-awful cramps. The thing about seawater is the salt content will kill you. Your kidneys can only deal with so much salt at a time in your body, and part of their job is to filter out the excess. Seawater has enough salt in it that your kidneys can't keep up, and ultimately they fail, and we find ourselves burying you at sea. Eventually he'll collapse, and the Admiral will be able to get the gun and the microfilm. And that's the last thing he remembers.
Raft. You found us.
No, Admiral. You found us. You were at the rendezvous when we picked you up.
He has no idea how he did that. Autopilot can be a useful thing.
I was afraid that you'd find us too soon.
Too soon?
Before Brinoff passed out. Well, if I hadn't gotten the gun away from him...
Captain Crane is going to have to hear a more expanded version of this story once the Admiral can talk better.
Where is he?
He was dead when we picked you up.
We can assume he still is. I guess we know who's the real born survivor. Not him.
I wish I could say I'm sorry. But I'm not.
Why should he be? The book says you reap what you sow. He sowed death, destruction, and selfishness. Everything that happened to him was his own doing. Even after all he did, Nelson refused to kill him in the raft. But the sea took care of him, and just like all the rest, he brought it on himself. Why do people feel the need to dominate other people? Ever since we started walking upright, one dude has always thought he was better than the other dudes and set out to prove it. Not by achieving some great accomplishment or inventing something that helps people, but by hurting, killing, and enslaving people. All it proves is you're an insecure little wart who doesn't really believe all the hype about himself, so he constantly has to prove it to himself by interfering in other people's lives. To those guys, I can only say, try Viagra. It's cheaper and more effective.
I'm breathing underwater, I'm weightless through space. I'm soaring like an eagle all over this place. Creatures most will never see are waiting there to look at me, and all I gotta do is breathe underwater.
Most always gap. Point in international waters, man. Prearranged Semeyev reports that Semenyev report. Okay, lever in their they have a prearranged rendezvous point. That's how it's spelled. That's how I'm saying it.